Hi guys, welcome to this quick video using Advanced Steel 2019. So this is titled Advanced Steel, a model in minutes. So I'm going to draw up a very quick steel structure and produce all the full fabrication drawings hopefully in a matter of minutes. So I'm going to jump straight into the software. I'm going to put in a portal frame from the extended model. So I click that, I'm going to enter the start point of 0, 0. I'm going to make my portal frame, so I'm going to position it there, put ortho 1, I'm going to make it 12 meters wide, and then I enter to confirm it, and this will pop up the portal frame dialog box, which will allow me to adjust some of the configurations and settings. So I'm going to look at the set out. The span is correct, the total height. We look at the sections that are used. We can see that we're going with a 406. The column's a little bit big, so I'm just going to make it down to a 305, and the rafter size I'm going to set it to a 254. And let's see, we can go in and just quickly adjust the setup. I just want to change that to a 12-degree pitch, so that will set the eaves level at 5 meters, but the total height is 6275. If I'm happy enough with that, that's what I've got. I'm going to go in and start placing some of the connections. So I open up my connection vault. I have favorited some of my more standard ones just to increase the speed in the system. Not going to allow for additional concrete. And this will add a simple base plate connection. I'm not really going to adjust anything. I'll leave that as is. I'm going to use the copy tool to copy the connection to here, and again not include the concrete elements. Going to look at the apex haunch, so it's rafter 1 connected to rafter 2. And let's have a little look at what we have. So I've got some issues here, so I'm going to quickly take off the stiffeners both sides. None of that. I'm going to look at the bolt groups because the bolts don't look perfect to me, so I'm going to look at the definition of the bolt groups. I'm going to change this to 3, and you can see, and change the second group to 1, and just adjust the settings there, so 125, and that gives me something like that. I may just go 135 just to move that a little bit more, so I'm okay with that. Now let's look at the eaves haunch to flange, so it's column, then the rafter, again that's a little bit flimsy, so I'm going to go and look at the library. So this is where it comes preloaded with all the BSA Green Book connections here in the UK. So we let this open. It takes a little bit of time the first time that you run it, because it's just reading and configuring the full library. I'm going to sort it by rafter. I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to select the eaves haunch there. So that gives me something like that. So it's upping the size of the haunch. I will adjust the plates and the bolts now. So I'm going to go to the end plate. I want to put an end plate on top of the rafter, or on top of the column. Actually, a cap plate will go with full. We'll go horizontal and a column extension of 100. That will put it up to there, and the plate width of set the plate gap to 0, and that will do that. Next thing I want to look at the plate on the The sides, we look at the haunch is fine. The additional plate, let's have a little look and see what we can do in here. Don't need to change much there. Bum, bum, bum. Let's have a look at the bolt groups. I'm going to just change them down to about 20. Change the bolt groups to, we'll go with 200, move them back up. You can see we do have a clash in here, so I'm going to change that to 2, this one to 3, or 2. Let's have a look at the end plate. I don't want a projection at the bottom of 20. The width 2, and then we just look at the bolts and we look at the gauge distance of 60. So that gives me something that I want to work with. Again, I'm just going to copy that connection from here across to here. So that gives me one portal frame, and then going to use the transform elements to select the 4 major components, which is the rafter and columns, and I'm also going to select the joint box. Include additional connectors, which will allow me to include all the joints, and I want to create 4 copies and the x-axis of 5 meters. So we'll click OK, and that will transfer column to there. So once we get that in, I'm going to start putting in the tie beam. So over here, the snaps that I'm looking at using is just a node snap, and this will allow me to quickly snap to the top of the column. Here and here we have a look, and I'm going to go with let's go with a 127, and we want to set the model row to beam. Repeat that process, so we want to put another tie beam in on this side, so we take it from there to there, and again just make sure that the model roll is set to beam. The tie beam on the rafters, I'm going to position the UCS on top, so I select UCS on the rafter, position it in this direction, then I can draw my tie beam from here to here, and again just set up the positioning, and I might want to look at the beam needs to be in that position, so I've just put it down. I'm going to use a standard move command, and I can move it 500 down, position the UCS on this rafter, and again the process is the same. Draw a standard I section from that node to that node, and set that to beam. What you can now do, if I reset my UCS, I can copy these across. So I can just use a standard copy. You could also use advanced copy or transform elements, but I'm just going to keep it pretty simple from the bottom. To here, if we look at this connection, I'm going to go with a single-sided end plate, so it's column to this beam. You can configure it. I'm going to keep that as is. That will be okay for now. I'm going to do a multiple joint copy, copy that into position. So I'm going to use the main connecting elements, and then I'm going to connect in each of the tie beams. Let's copy that across. What I did forget to do was move the 5 beams, which I can do now if I just position this back on that, and then a simple move of the 4 tie beams at the apex. And the beauty of Advance is that it will take the connection and update it for you. So once we get that done, we now look at the double-sided end plate, and that's going to be this with this beam and this beam. And that will add that in. Again, I'm going to leave that as is. I'm happy enough with that. And again, let's look at the joint copy multiple. So we'll take this and we will look at the main component elements, which are these guys. Let's hope that I get this correct. Not got everything perfectly, so I'll just take that out. I will just connect that in manually. Let's just set the UCS back and see if that will copy correctly now. Let's try it the opposite direction. Much better. This one. And then this one. Needs to be reversed around in the selection method. Let's just take that. And again, this is the same process, so it should be a case of copying this left and right. That looks like all the major connections. I might put in some bracing, so I'm going to draw I'll go from that node to that node. Let's just position the UCS on the actual rafter. Change it to 2D wireframe, and I will be able to find the node at the end of the beam. Just a little bit easier to take to there, and I can take then this one. Let's just undo that slightly. Let's just roughly take it to there. Let's have a look at that in realistic mode. So we've got this piece. We can now look at, I've got a tube gusset brace to that, and that will put in that type of connection and something similar-ish here. If we put the UCS back, go on top, and I mirror this across from the apex. And then I can repeat the process of connecting that to that. And this rafter to this one. Just double check the properties of these and set them to, again, a beam. And then I'm just going to mirror these along a nearest point here and a nearest point here, and then I'll just brace them back in. So one here and then another here, and then it should just be the final two. So that looks as if I've got the basic structure in. I'm not going to do too much more on this. I'm going to look to start producing the fabrication data. So I've put all the portals in, all the connections, braced it up. First thing I usually do is go to numbering. This will apply a single and assembly part number. I'm using the main part is equal to the assembly number. Click apply, click OK. That will go off and number the complete project. I'm then going to set up some cameras to produce the GA drawings as well as the single and assembly drawings. So I'm going to set the UCS on plan, go to the top view, go to the tools, insert a camera just in the middle. I'm going to then set the style for the camera, so it's going to be an overview. This time it's going to be, if I scroll down, I'll find the camera style of a stanchion layout. I will say that is 1:50, position that there. Reset the UCS back, have a look at this. I'm going to go UCS on the view. I'm going to position another camera in that position. I'm going to go 3D view, all no labels, 1:50. I'm going to reset my UCS back, orbit the model round to here. UCS on the view, again put in a camera. 3D view, all no labels, 1:50. I'm going to reset the UCS back, go to world, orbit it round again. Let's have a look at this connection here. So we're going to produce a little small detail view. So UCS on the view, I'm going to position a camera inserted at this point. It's going to be all no labels, 1:20, and this time I'm going to set up a detail box front and rear. So I'm going to set the size to be 1500, and again fix the size this side. So I get is a detail view around that, and one more camera I think. So UCS in the view, just reset it. Let's go from the left view, UCS on the view, and let's position one more camera just for an elevation. Let's say elevation, hot rolled, side all, and again set it to 1:50. So that is all my cameras in. I'm now ready to start using the engine to produce the drawings. So I'm going to go to drawing, not drawing styles, I'll go to drawing processes. I'm just using out of the box content, so I'm going to go parts, single BOM A1 to A4, so it will automatically pick the size. We click OK and let the engine run off the drawings. So once the single parts are done, I'm going to switch to the assemblies and use again the standard out of the box. I'm going to start these from numbers 200, and away we go. So once the assemblies are run, let's go to the cameras. I'm just going to put all cameras on an A0 sheet. I'm going to start them from 300, and we go OK. This will try and put all the cameras various different scales, and try and add them onto a sheet, and if it can't, it will then go on to the next subsequent sheet size. So once they're run, it's time to go to the document manager. Let's have a look at what Advance has generated. So we've got a document, drive into here, we've got details, we've got, if you look at the preview buttons, so there's the beams. If we look at, here we have a column. We've got some of the single parts, the rafter, and then we look at our GA drawing. You can double click into it. This is our GA drawing. You can see there's my detail, there's my 3D views, there's the elevation views, all labeled, all done, and that basically is an advanced steel model in a matter of minutes.